one that shows what we could do with that additional property with parking, and we actually get 48 additional parking spaces. And alternatively, we have a plan that shows what we could do with incorporating some additional open space. So we could get additional parking, 18 spots, and then still provide a pretty large area for some open space, playground.
Let's show the, sorry folks, because of the logistics, it's a little challenging.
We want to make sure the audience sees it.
So what we're talking about is two options that encompass an area larger than the original site. So Jessica, if you could just reiterate what you just said.
Yeah.
This, let's call
Something a little more this way.
this site plan option B, and this one, or, okay, I'm sorry, even I'm getting confused. Okay, so this is where we start. This is where we start.
Is that A?
So this would be option A, which is just fully paving the additional area and adding as much parking as we can get in the area. That gives us an additional 40 parking spots, which is great. It helps for zoning issues. The second option, we get additional parking, but we have a fairly large, what is it, 63 feet by 170 feet roughly for open space. That was brought up at the last meeting a few weeks ago, that there wasn't enough open space on the property, so we purchased the properties and have some open space available.
So in this option, you get how many additional parking spaces?
48,
And in this one,
18.
combined with an area here that would have the dual purpose of providing additional playground area, enclosed by a fence, and snow storage in the winter. And this would be in addition to the interior playground area, which is, it's hard to envision it as a playground, but it is quite a large space once it's cleared out, 2,000 square feet, and that would be fully landscaped and made improvements with playground amenities to complement what would be a much larger site than this before. So the whole idea here is, what's more important to the planning commission? Are there preferences that you have? These are things that we would ask you to consider in connection with the application and maybe for further discussions next week. So,
And we went over a lot of the technical aspects of the site plan at our previous meeting, so in the interest of time, we won't really get into any of that unless there's questions.
so let's show the. So this is the existing Gateway Center. We've been talking about the acquisition of rights on the eastern part of the property encompassing this area. Right now, the property line is right here. At prior planning commission meetings, there were concerns about whether having a playground along this courtyard area was sufficient, given that some of the floors will be occupied by families with children.
Sorry, sir, if you could just speak up, I lost you there, given that
Some of the residential units will be occupied by families with children. So what we're trying to do is to respond to that concern by giving more open space and a place to store snow in the winter. So again, we're trying to cut to the chase and be brief. If there is a need for additional detail about the site plan, we can address it now, or we can maybe turn it over to Matt Mazgai for a few brief comments before you open up the public comment.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Matt Mazgai. I'm an attorney at Phillips Lytle in Jamestown, New York. My residential address is 1427 Big Tree Road in Lakewood. I'm here representing Community Helping Hands. And I'll bring everyone's attention to a one-page handout which is available at the front of the room, which gives a lot of the details related to the proposed project and some of the people here in our community that we're hoping to help with this project. By combination of Community Helping Hands, Southern Tier Environments for Living, the YWCA, and other social service providers, we're looking to provide a unique opportunity for the city of Jamestown to have housing and social services mixed in the same building. This is an effective and efficient way to help those that are most in need in our community, primarily because it's different from any other housing complex in that those that need services have them within the same building. So proximity, as you'll see in the notes on the handout, there are certain floors which are case manager specific. So the third floor will have case managers provided by the YWCA. The fourth floor will have case managers provided by Stonehenge Environments of Living. In this situation, there will be other wraparound services provided on the first floor. So members of our community that need additional education or mental health or English as a second language or job training skills, which is the bread and butter of Community Helping Hands, will be able to receive those services within the same building as their residents. But all of this comes back to providing a home to a number of people in our community who might be struggling to provide housing for themselves and their family, and that creates uncertainty which can derail anyone's ambitions in life. So that is the goal of the project. A note on funding sources, as Mr. Ricca mentioned, funding sources are in state and federal programs. So, if they have been earmarked and allocated, it's not as if it will not affect the city's budget or the county's budget, and if these monies aren't spent here, they will be spent elsewhere. The projected budget is $31 million, and the breakdown is on the back of the one sheet, which will result in jobs both in construction and long-term jobs for the city of Jamestown. Other benefits include putting the property on the tax rolls and having it be a revenue source for the city of Jamestown. But hopefully it will also provide a climate where people who are struggling or stressing our first responders might find a location to better themselves and improve their lives so that they are not at a cost to city taxpayers. Finally, the project also covers an unfunded mandate by the state of New York to provide emergency housing. There's a number of people and expense that comes with Governor Cuomo's obligation on counties to provide emergency housing when the weather gets cold. So in the last couple of years, we've seen a precipitous incline in the budget requirements for that, and this project hopes to cover some of those costs. Now, there's so much that can be said about this project, including that the brownfield remediation will completely clean up the contamination to the standards for residential living in New York State, and will beautify a piece of history of the city of Jamestown. And I think that at the end of the day, it will be a project that everyone in our community can be proud of.
Okay, thank you. To our friends in the back, we have some seats up front and some seats over here, so in case you want to make yourself comfortable. So let me just repeat the rules again. When you step up to the mic, we need you to state your name, your residential address. We're going to limit you to a max of 5 minutes. Please make sure that your comments are about this project specifically. Anything else, and I'll have to rule you out of order. And also, if you have questions about the project, again, please direct the questions to me. And then if we have time at the end of the meeting, I will ask our presenters to answer these questions. So there's a microphone on either end of the room, so please step up and tell us what you think.
Hello, my name is Matt Heiberg. I live at 421 Park Street here in Jamestown. I'm a long-term Jamestown. Yes?
Spell your last name.
Hagberg. I'm a long-time Jamestown resident. When I first heard about this project, my initial reaction was, oh no, another low-income housing unit in Jamestown. And that was really what my initial reaction was. And I've started to learn about this project, and the more I learn about it, I've changed my mind. I think it's a worthy project. You sometimes drive down Crescent Street and you see the old factories there. What happens to these buildings when you don't have a stable owner to restore them or to maintain them? I'd hate to see that to the Chautauqua Hardware Building. I don't know what would happen to that if this project didn't go through. We have these people in Jamestown that need help. Right now they're scattered all through the city. I work downtown. I see people walking up and down 3rd Street that obviously need some help. I think it would be great if they could be housed in an area where they could get that help. We're at the maximum tax as property owners in Jamestown. This adds to the tax revenues. I think that's a win. Other things about the project, it cleans up the brownfield money, cleans up any pollution. I don't know how all the cutting oils and things that went into that factory over the 80 or 90 years that it was operating. I'm sure there's quite a bit of work to be done there. The Riverwalk, I think, is an outstanding project that continues to be improving, and I think this just adds another notch to that. So, as a homeowner and taxpayer in Jamestown, I'm for the project.
Thank you.
My name is Doug Beardsley. I live at 40 George Avenue in the city, born and raised, educated in Jamestown Public Schools. My one question would be, how would this affect Jamestown's aging infrastructure? I mean, you hear about Buffalo, Niagara Falls having broken water mains for weeks and months, and my question is, how would it affect the infrastructure as far as like water, sewage, the roads, the electrical? I mean, more utility services would be used, so how would that affect the infrastructure? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linnea Carlson. I live at 39 Ivory Street in Frewsburg, New York. I currently am employed in this wonderful city. And I first want to say thank you to everyone who is working on this project. Housing is the first step to alleviating poverty, so that's very important that we address it. As defined by the USDA, the Gateway Center, where this proposed project will be, is located within a food desert area. Again, this is designated by the United States government. A food desert is an area that is void of access to fresh whole foods such as produce or other healthful options. St. Susan's Kitchen does wonderful work, but they are an emergency food organization. They are not a grocery store. The nearest grocery store is exactly 1 mile. Which is the official definition of a food desert. I have a map if you're interested, and I also measured it myself this morning. So my question for the stakeholders who are involved in this project is, considering that our county ranks 58 out of 62 in health rankings for the state, and the Gateway Center is in a food desert, it's a mile away from the nearest grocery store, what do project stakeholders and the city plan to do to address issues of hunger and food access while planning this project? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Andrew O'Brien. I'm a resident of Fredonia, 96 Center Street in Fredonia, New York. For the past 30 years, I've been associated with WCA Hospital and UPMC. I need to make clear that my remarks today are my personal remarks and not that of UPMC. I have been involved in addressing similar projects for the past 30 years, and I thought the Commission should be aware of a couple of things in terms of speaking to the need for this program. Approximately 2 years ago, Senator Kathy Young and myself and County Executive Vince Horrigan traveled to see a model program similar to this in Canandaigua, New York. We were presenting information to the program there about what UPMC planned to do with its chemical dependency residential program. And the executive director of the program in Canandaigua asked, well, what are you going to do about permanent supportive housing rather than just transitional housing, which the hospital was planning and still is planning? And he was emphasizing that if you're going to have a comprehensive approach, particularly to mental health problems and substance abuse problems, including the opioid epidemic, that you need to have the right levels of care in place and not just bits of the system that will help resolve the issues. So I need to point out today that that's still one of the most substantial needs that we have in Chautauqua County and in Jamestown. We need a place for some individuals, a minority of individuals that have mental health issues and substance abuse issues, to have a permanent housing option, as well as some of the transitional housing options. And with Hurricane Michael approaching, I thought of an analogy when we're addressing the opioid problem, that if you have a approaching storm and you keep getting those storms over and over again, you want to not only fix the immediate damage, you want to resolve problems such as having housing that can withstand the storm. Part of withstanding the storm of mental health problems and substance abuse problems is having permanent housing, supportive housing. We're lucky through the leadership of many people in Jamestown and in county government, we have a comprehensive system of mental health and substance abuse services, except a comprehensive program of supporting housing. Jamestown will become a leader in approving this project that's vitally needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Janet Chu. I'm a Jamestown resident, 3043 Gertz Road. I am here on behalf of the YWCA, and I also work in the community and have been trying to find housing for people for probably the last 20 years. Mostly, well, not only women and children, but and it's very, very difficult to find housing. And I support this project fully because we do need good housing. I've worked with Stell for many, many years. They are so upstanding, and I know that the YWCA provides amazing housing services as well. As I was walking here tonight from a parking spot on 3rd Street, I noticed a man sleeping in that little park on the corner of 3rd and Pine, and I thought, he probably could use this housing. So I really support the efforts. I love the notion of the food desert. I don't know if anyone's thought about that, but that's a really good point. So I support this project completely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Rapp, members of the commission, and interested community members, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for listening. My name is Jacqueline Phelps. I'm the executive director of the YWCA of Jamestown. For 35 years.
Jackie, can you just give us your residential address?
Yes, my residential address, 1911 Lola Lane, Northeast Pennsylvania, 16428.
Can you repeat your address? I'm sorry.
Yes, 1911 Lola Lane.
Can you spell the street?
Lola, like L-O-L-A. I always say like the showgirl.
Feel free to say.
Not tonight. Anyways, I'm here on behalf of the YWCA because we are not only in support of this project, but we are proud that we were selected by Stell and Community Helping Hands, our partners, to provide services to the 3rd floor of the Gateway Lofts. For over 30 years, the YWCA has run a transitional housing program, women and children. And over my time at the YWCA, I've listened to a lot of stories, some of them about transitional housing, some of them about our teenage education and motherhood program, and the list goes on and on. But one of the most compelling stories that I heard was from somebody who stopped by to learn more about what we do. And what I was told is that years ago, when the program started, a family member of hers came to transitional housing because she had a child outside of wedlock. So the family sent her there in order to have the baby and then later come home. Today, our transitional housing is full of mental health. It's full of substance use. It's full of women and children who need an opportunity to be empowered so that they can thrive, so that they can become community members in the city of Jamestown, pay taxes, and do everything that we all aspire to do. I tell you that story because it is imperative to have housing like this in the city of Jamestown. It is imperative to have a place, like Andy O'Brien said, where you have services, where somebody can find the Mental Health Association, Community Helping Hands, the Baby Cafe, St. Susan's, and so many others, so that when they're at a part in their life or a point in their life where they need help, they have it. But so we can empower them to do better. And the reason I support this program so much is because that is what this program does. It takes people out of the transitional housing, where we had people for a couple months 35 years ago, and we have people for a few years now, and puts them in a place where they get those supportive services, puts them in a place where they can become empowered. The YWCA, to address the food problem, has our transitional housing program now at 401 North Main Street, our main location. And we regularly transport people to different places where they can get food. And my goal and my vision is to be able to continue to provide those supportive services so that people have what they need to focus on what they really need to focus on. My vision for this program is to have single parents and families come out of the 3rd floor, have people on the 2nd floor and the 4th floor who become citizens of the city of Jamestown that raise their children to not be in the same place that they're in. My vision for this program is to make this a reality for all of us. And I know that we all want that. And that's why I thank you for the work that you do. And thank everybody for being here tonight. We're proud of this project because it's a project and a program that's actually going to take people out of poverty. It's a project and a program that is going to teach people to thrive and to stop that cycle of poverty that goes on for generations and generations because of the services offered, because of the programs we have, and the vicinity right there. Transportation is another huge issue. There's a food desert. Why? Because people in poverty can't drive a mile because they don't have a car. And by offering all these services right in the same location, you allow people to focus on what they need to focus on while having what they need right in their backyard. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Cipolla, and I'm the chairperson of the Board of Directors for Community Helping Hands. My home address is 2026 Winch Road in Lakewood, New York. So I wanted to just take a moment on behalf of the entire Board of Directors to share with everyone in this room who is hearing all these really moving words about the project, what it is that drives us as a Board of Directors. And I'm going to tie that into how it fits into the bigger picture of this project. And I will tell you that as a board, we spent a lot of time redeveloping our mission, and I'm going to share it with you right now. Community Helping Hands demonstrates the love of Christ by helping our community thrive as we empower people to help themselves and others. We came up with that not just because we had to check a box and have it be something pretty that we put up on a shelf. We came up with that because that tells the world why what we do matters. And I also want to share with you that as a Board of Directors who cares very much about helping to empower people to be the best version of themselves, every single decision we make is guided by our core values of service to others, spiritual growth, personal growth, and compassion. This project embodies all of those values, and this project is not something that, as a key partner for this very important endeavor, we as a board take lightly. We very much are committed to doing everything we can to help empower those who would be residing at the Gateway Center on all the 3 floors that they'd be residing on. We would do everything in our power to address things such as the food desert that was mentioned. And I will tell you that myself and Tammy Berg, the executive director, just had a pretty lengthy conversation about that. That's very much on our radar. I can't tell you that we have all the answers right now, but I can tell you that it's on our radar, it's something we're committed to doing, and I know with the Brain Trust that is passionately working on this project, although change is scary, I promise everyone in this room that if you close your eyes and you think about a time when someone took a chance on you, when you probably felt pretty hopeless, how much did that impact where you are today? Everyone sitting up there probably had somebody take a chance on them when others could have easily turned their backs. And when you're about to turn your back on this project, if anybody out there is considering that, I want you to think of the monumental impact on our community just taking the chance on these people who feel undeserving and unloved can have on our overall economy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Lumia, Lumia, 424 East Virginia Circle, Jamestown. I am a member of this community and a teacher for Jamestown Public Schools. One of the biggest challenges I face as a teacher is problems with attendance. Many students have poor attendance, and one of the stumbling blocks that they face is a lack of secure and stable housing that this project will provide my students. I am also a member of the Riverfront Management Council, and the council, I think I can speak for, was very impressed with the green space that the architects and engineers designed for this project, and in keeping in line with our mission for the Riverwalk, I support this project on that front as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shelley Stallman. I live at 27 Hammond Street, Jamestown. And forgive me if I need to read this, I get kind of tongue-tied. I've been a Jamestown homeowner for over 25 years, and I'm also a volunteer at Community Helping Hands and a board member. Community Helping Hands has been my second home for 12 years this month. I'm there Tuesday through Saturday from open to close, approximately 36 hours a week. And I only give you this information just to show you how much I believe in Community Helping Hands. I believe in the organization, in what we do for the community. And I am very much in favor of this LOFT project. And I believe in the work that all the persons involved have done so far. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Christine Schuyler, 163 Sandbury Road, Jamestown, New York. I'm here tonight as your Public Health Director and Social Services Commissioner. I thank the council and also all the community for coming out tonight in support of this project. Both professionally and personally, I can't tell you just how much I support this project for multiple reasons. If you look at the social determinants of health, which are the economic and social conditions that affect the health outcomes of all communities, safe, quality, affordable housing, and all the supports that are needed to empower those living in that housing are the most basic and powerful social determinants of health. Gateway Lofts project provides an incredible opportunity to improve the overall physical and mental health of our community. Men, women, children, families. Health is one reason. We look at economic development in our county, which is talked about constantly. Hotels and motels were built for tourists. They were built for our visiting family and friends. They were not built for people to have to try to raise a family in a hotel room. From an economic standpoint, I can tell you after our recent budget hearings at the county level, temporary assistance, social services in general is always a big topic of conversation. From January through July of 2018, temporary assistance housing costs were $800,000. Compare that to less than $90,000 2 years ago. Multiple reasons go into that. One is the Code Blue mandate for emergency housing, but in general, we have a great need for housing within our county. Substance abuse, mental illness, domestic violence are issues. Together as a community, we have to work to try to solve these issues. You may say, why Jamestown? Why not Jamestown? Jamestown is the population center of our county. We have the most people living here. We have access to healthcare and stores and the services that are needed to help a family become strong and sustainable. I have been talking about the Gateway Lofts project with my fellow county health officials and county social services commissioners across the state. And people are watching us because this is very, very exciting. Every county in our state, pretty much our nation, thanks to the opioid epidemic, is facing the same issues that we are facing here. But we are so far ahead because we have the opportunity to provide safe, affordable, quality housing to our vulnerable population, to actually reach out as a community and band together and make a difference, to empower people and help them be self-sufficient and contribute to our community as a whole. So I feel that it's something that Jamestown should be very, very proud of, to be a partner in making this project successful. Thank you.
Andrew R. Liuzzo, 35 Hopkins Avenue, Jamestown, New York. I am not speaking for the city. I am speaking for myself. I don't think anybody in this room negates the spirit of what's trying to be accomplished here. Jamestown has always been a very generous city. So what I'm saying, the questions I'm going to ask, because I always have questions, are pretty pragmatic. The first one I want to ask is this funding secured, this $34 million? Do we have this? Is it secured? Because if it's not, what are we talking about? If it is this the best place to put $34